Okay guys, I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful quiche here. And this is broccoli, mushroom with a little bit of tomato, red pepper, green pepper, red onion, and garlic in it. Layers of cheese, primarily mild cheddar with a little Parmesan on top. When I shot this, I wore my head cam rig and I was really into the cooking part of it. There will be times where I'm talking about something and you see this. I want to apologize in advance. Okay, I know it's annoying, but just bear with it. I do show you every step of the way. Sometimes when I'm chopping a vegetable or whatever, you'll just see my hand and you won't see the vegetable getting chopped. I think we all know what vegetables getting chopped looks like. But it's basically, I capture the whole process. It's a long video, just warning you guys. But at the end, look what you get, man. Manly quiche to fortify you, sustain you. You're going to need some goods to make a quiche. I'm going to show you real quick what they are. You're going to need some cheese. You can choose your ingredients and your cheese to match each other, right? You're going to need some deep dish instant pie crusts. I like a little Parmesan on top to give it a brown. You're going to need some milk. You're going to need some kind of oil. I like virgin olive oil. I don't want any slutty olive oil that's been, worked in the corner. Salt, pepper. I like a nice coarse ground mustard, a little ranch, a little hot sauce. You're going to need a grater. You're going to need some veggies. I'm choosing to use a carrot, green, red pepper, a little tomato, some garlic, a broccoli, some mushrooms, and eggs. Okay, you're going to need to make 2 quiches. I use 8 good-sized eggs. Okay, we'll get into that in a second. Alright, 2 things I like to do right off the bat. I like to get my pan warming up on just under medium there. And I like to get my oven going at 350 so it's warming up on me. Then the first thing you want to do is you want your eggs to warm up. That helps, so get them out of their shells and crack them. And we'll just do that real quick right here. Show you guys my little technique for cracking eggs like a pro. Okay. These are free range. And the amount of milk I like to use about a half shell, so I'll find a shell that's pretty intact, like this, okay? And I'm going to put 8 half shells of milk in there. We'll skip that part, you can figure that out. Okay, as you can see, we got about 3/4 of a cup of milk, maybe 2/3, around in there, whatever it is, I don't care. First thing I want to do is I want to whisk that up into the eggs. Break all those eggs up, get the eggs and the milk combining and warming up out here while I'm prepping my veggies. You don't have to go crazy with it, but you definitely want to try and break up all the yellow yolk, all the white. You want to get everything all mixing together. This is also when I add all my ingredients, okay, to give the things some flavor. Okay. You don't use a whole lot of this. Watch how much I use. Okay, you'll see. It's not a ton. Like about that much, just to give it a little zip. Same thing with mustard, not too much. We're making 2 quiches, so if you're making 1, you want to use even less. You don't want to put a ton of mustard in there. You don't want the thing to taste like a sandwich or something. A couple of shots of hot sauce. You don't want to put too much because a lot of people are not into spice. What that does, it just brings out other flavors. Now, depending on your salt tolerance, you may want a fair amount of salt, but just a little bit. Same thing with black pepper. You might not want a whole lot. You might want a whole lot. Remember, you're making 2 quiches, so add enough to give flavor to both of them. Okay? Alright? And once you got that going, whip all of that together until it's mixed, and then you just let it sit there, and then before you pour it all together, you'll whip it up again. So if it's not fully whipped, don't worry about it, you'll get to it. The idea is just to get everything blending, all the flavors blending, and warming, so everything's kind of mellowing together. Okay, so there's the secret mix that goes in the manly quiche. Okay, next up is the red onion. You want to take care of that. My knife I just sharpened so I know that it's going to do the job. I get rid of that whole outer shell. I don't even want that whole outer shell. The inner. Okay. Now, you got to think about how much onion do you want, but this is going to cook down. This is a small onion. If you had a big onion, you'd use about a half. Because this is a small onion, I'm going to use both. The whole idea of a quiche is that all the parts should be small, except for the ones that you want to accentuate. And in this case, it's going to be broccoli and mushroom. And those are the parts I want to make stand out. What I'm doing here is I'm caramelizing the onion. That's what's going to give it a nice base flavor, that sweet brown flavor. So while your onions are doing their thing, just go ahead and start prepping. Now with these, all I want are the florets. I do not want the stalks at all. Now I have to look at that and I have to think, is that, with all these other things, is this going to make two nice quiches? Yeah. I'm looking at the sizes. This and all of this other stuff added will make two nice quiches. So you're going to be putting about that much broccoli in each quiche. Set all your veggies aside, because making the quiche, you're actually going to place everything into it. You're not going to just dump everything in like a big vat. Mushrooms, a lot of people like to take the little stem off because sometimes it's dry and woody, but as you can see, these have already been trimmed. These are ready to go. Now with the mushrooms, again, it's something I want to show off, so I'm making 1/4 inch thick slices because these shrink when they get baked in the oven. So go ahead and slice all these babies up like this. Okay, here I got a little garden grown red pepper. It's not in the best shape. It's a little withered, but you know what? When you're cooking these things, they all puff up and blend into the rest of it. Now this is for visual appeal, and it's going to go directly into the egg milk mix. Do the same thing with this. You're looking at about, 1/4 inch or thereabouts pieces. These will cook up nice. When they bake, they'll get nice and soft. You don't need to saute them. You can saute them with the onion if you want to. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I think this time I will. I'm going to put them in here and get some of that sweetness mixed together. But the little bit of red pepper will just go straight in there. And the carrot is going to get shredded right in here. Okay. And use this right here. And just go ahead and get your carrot shredded in there. Alright, and I'll save you that. I think you've seen carrots getting shredded. So once you've got that, you're almost done. The tomato is going to get sliced up at the end and put in piece by piece in like slightly large pieces, so it has a nice succulent size to it. You don't want tiny little minced up tomato in there. It's not supposed to be spaghetti sauce. But you can see how the carrot is going to add a real interesting texture and flavor and color to the whole quiche broth. Okay. All right. And that's the size I want to cut into pieces about this big. So it's actually something you run across when you're eating the quiche. It's not just mixed up in there. So some things you want to mix in, some things you don't. Okay? And then the very last thing I want to do is the garlic. And the way you can do the garlic open real fast is you pop it like that. And my hands are wet, so it's not helping. But you can just peel the paper right off of it. I'm going to use 2 of them, but I'm going to show you. I want this tiny. I want it really, really small. It's just a flavoring agent. I don't want to have an overpowering garlic flavor, so I'm only using 2 cloves. But I'm mincing it up really small, like you can see. I don't want you to run across this. I don't want you to bite a piece of garlic and go, whoo! I want the garlic to mix all the way through everything. And what happens is when you bake garlic, it goes a long, long way. So 1 clove of garlic per quiche is way garlicky. It'll give it a nice sort of back taste of garlic without overpowering. Okay. And about this time, probably take a look at the onions. Shake them around a little bit. You want them to get brown. Okay. So something like this goes right in the mix. I'll mince up another one and I'll finish the carrot. camera. Alright, so everything's prepped. Everything's ready to add to the quiches. And now the last step is to get a really nice crisp on these onions. So I turn it all the way up to high now that it's been mellowing and everything's getting nice and soft. And I keep my eye on it at this time. Can't walk away now because things will burn up before you know it. And so what you're doing now is trying to get some browning on everything, just a little bit. See, this is why sometimes I put the green pepper directly in the mix if I don't want it to be browned. But if I want to have a browned one, you know, caramelized onion and green pepper is a nice mix. Got a nice base flavor to it. And you can see all this extra oil that's not going in the quiche. I'm going to be pulling this to the side and letting the oil come out and just putting this in. And this is going to be added to the quiche in a certain way. You'll see how in a minute. Yeah, now you can see them. They're starting to crisp and shrivel and get a little seared. That's what I want. I want to sear the outsides of them. See that browning? That's exactly what I want. Okay? Almost there. Okay? Alright, now that I got that happening, I can turn this off. And I'll show you the very first thing I want to put in my quiche is cheese. What that does is that keeps the crust of the quiche from becoming soggy when it's baking. You know, if you have something that's really oily right on the bottom, it can also make the bottom want to get extra brown. So the cheese, a little layer of cheese, just enough to barely cover the bottom. Okay, like that. Alright. Alright. And we got that. Okay. Now I'm going to put some mushrooms on there. These will also kind of help protect the bottom a little bit and give some depth to that quiche so when you bite into it, it has different layers. This is when you may end up with a few extra vegetables and you can have them in your omelet tomorrow or whatever. You know, you just kind of scatter them around so it's all like a single layer. Keep them interesting. Okay. Think about this thing getting cut up into pieces. You want to make sure everybody has a nice piece, right? Okay, so now you got that going on. Now we can pull this over and get some of those caramelized onions. See how I'm doing that? Get the oil out of them. Get that drain out a little bit. And then these I'm just going to sprinkle like this. Okay. Don't be afraid to not use everything you make. You know, that's why it's a manly quiche. Men are not afraid. Just add what you think you can tolerate in the taste of your quiche and leave it at that. It's very important not to make it too oily though. You know, you just want to have just the seared vegetables. You don't want to pull all the oil up with you. Yeah, these lovely little crunchy bits are going to be awesome. Okay, that's that. Alright, now give this thing another whip. Okay. And what we're going to go to now is to pull out enough to cover the mushrooms. Like this. Okay. We're going to cover the cheese, cover the mushrooms, and I'm going to do another little layer of cheese. Put a little bit in each one. Make sure you've got some of the goodies coming out too. You know, you want all that good stuff in there and push it around. Get it the way you want. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm going to go with another thin layer of cheese. You don't want to make this thing like completely ridiculously cheesy. It'll make it too tough. So you just want enough cheese to once again make like a layer. Okay. It's a good pinch of cheese there, yeah, like this. See, this is how men do it. We don't measure. Why measure? You know what you want to eat, right? Put that in there. Now the broccoli and the tomato. Okay, now that I got a little bed for these tomatoes to lay on, I'm going to throw a few tomatoes in there just to make it interesting. Push them down a little bit. A few more in here. Make sure everybody's got a bite. Okay. some tomato in it. Yeah, there you go. Stick the little broccoli florets down. Now the reason I'm doing this now is because the tops of these broccolis are going to get, these might be too big. You can always break these babies up if they look too big to you. Usually the flowers on mine, the stuff I'm getting at Kroger's, are so small I don't really need to chop them up. But I'd rather tear them than chop them, because then you end up with a bunch of little green specks everywhere. And that's not what I want. I want flowers in there, but I don't want them to be so big that you can't eat one in one bite. Alright? The idea is this is a bite-sized thing. Once this cooks, everything will be tender, but you still want to be able to take a bite out of your quiche and not have to saw through it and get some crazy huge piece of whatever in your mouth. Kind of the same idea with Chinese food, where everything's sized so that you can pick it up with your chopsticks and enjoy it, and not some giant piece that you have to try and cut with a knife that you don't have. You know, something like that, okay? Like I said, don't be afraid not to use everything. This stuff will all go back in the crisper and it will be used for whatever. Okay, now you see I've got something going on here. This is when I can put more of this in there. This is when you got to be, you know, scrimptimonious. You want to put about the same on each side. Okay, these also are going to puff up when they cook. You don't want to go crazy. You don't want to put it right up to the edge. If you fill it right up to the edge, okay, yeah, it's going to puff over. Now this gets, you bet, yet another layer of cheese. I want to make sure everything's wet. See, I'm just getting my hand right in there. I don't care. I'm going to wash my hand after this. I want everything wet with egg. I want the egg to completely surround everything. I don't want too many vegetables just sticking up. Okay? The best vegetables, if you want to have some things sticking up that look fun, is you put some nice looking slices of mushroom where people can see them. You know, so they, oh, it's got mushroom in it. You know, that's the idea. Mushrooms handle broiling pretty good. I mean, baking pretty good, especially because they're going to have cheese on top. Okay, so I don't think I want to put too much more broccoli in there. I think I got enough. Everything seems to be about the right height. Now you can imagine, well, maybe I could have added one more egg each, but it puffs up and it gets kind of crazy. Now if you feel like maybe your quiches came out too low for whatever reason, you could add more. But I'm going to show you what I do here is I just put another layer of cheese on top and I pat it into the egg, and this will help everything bake nice. Okay. So you're going to go through some ingredients making quiches, but each one of these, each piece of this is like eating one egg and a whole bunch of vegetables. You've got 8 eggs. Let's say you quartered each quiche and you ate a quarter of a quiche each. You'd only be eating 1 egg per slice of quiche. So it's not a very egg intensive recipe, even though you would think, hey, this is all about eggs. Not the way I make it. The way I make it, it's mainly about vegetables, and the egg is just a binder. It keeps everything nice. Now, the final deal, okay, once again, wash the hands, right? Okay, is the Parmesan. Okay, and that'll be it. And I'll show you the results. I'm going to pop these in the oven for 350, at 350 for about 30 minutes and check on them. They usually go between 30 and 45 minutes. It depends on the ingredients, depends on a lot of things. See, now that what that Parmesan is going to, well, quiches have been perking away about 12 minutes or so. Let's have a little look at them so you can kind of see. The camera will not fog up. Is it clear? Yes, it's clear. Look at that, huh? Is that going to be glorious or what? Now what I do is once they've set and the tops are starting to puff and brown a little bit, to finish cooking the inside I cover the top with foil and then I finish the cooking. So at about 30 minutes I check them. That's usually when I foil them and put them in for another 15 to make sure they're cooked all the way through. And that way you don't burn that top exposed crust. It just gets nice and golden. Okay, it's been 30 minutes at 350, middle rack. Step back so the camera doesn't fog up. Now, when you look at those babies, you can see the crust has gotten brown where the cheese was. The top has started to puff up. It's set. But, here, let me get a rag in here. But if you shake it, you'll see they're not quite done yet. Okay, that's when I like to cover them. Yeah, like that, see? And then it's not a bad idea to rotate them 180 because no oven I've ever used cooks 100% everywhere. They're always a little bit different. Stick them back in there on the middle rack. As a matter of fact, I think 15 might be a little long, but it won't hurt. Probably go 10 and be fine. As a matter of fact, I'm getting the little voice is telling me, just do it for 10. So I'm going to listen to my little voice. You should listen to your little voice. Alright, it's showtime. Get these puppies out of here. Now one of the tricks, okay, is when you're letting these cool is take the foil off. Okay. Get them both out. Beautiful, beautiful quiche, huh? Didn't take that long. Probably an hour all told, but you should really let these things mellow. I'll tell you, a quiche actually tastes better a whole day later. If you just let it sit a whole day, it'll be even better, but that never happens, right? But that's what I was talking about it puffing up. See, it's actually above the level of the crust. You could possibly have put more in there, but I kind of like it at this level. So there you have it. And let those babies cool down. And one of these is going to my neighbor. So there you have it, guys. Awesome manly quiche. Alright, what good is cooking without eating? Got to try this out. That's what it looks like when it's cut open, huh? Pretty nice. Here's a nice big piece of it. Ready to get scarfed down. I'll give you my impressions of it. First thing I notice is that great big mushroom on the end. I'm like, that's a good way to start a quiche, huh? Nice big bite like that, huh? Moist. Has a rich taste. Sweet. Got a sweet flavor to it. Carrot's kind of crunchy, but not too crunchy. Let's see. Broccoli is cooked all the way through. Has a slight hint of garlic. The eggs have this flavor that you just can't quite place. It's like, what's in there? You can't tell. It's that ranch with the grainy mustard and the onions, and the oil, the garlic, all mixing together. Cooking for 40 minutes. Yeah, could have gone 45, but you know, the longer you let it set, the firmer it gets. When you first pull it out, it's going to be kind of watery looking. Do not despair. As you can see, it's cooked all the way through. Instead of just having a boring, regular egg milk type thing, now you have a savory egg thing in there that's more fun to eat. You can see the cheese all through it, but not so much that it makes it into a big gummy mass. It's still soft and fluffy. And the crust isn't burnt or anything. It's just nice and crispy. Yummy. Tastes good with it. Oh my God. So good. Oh yeah, man. And this gives you everything you need to get going. It's got your starches, got your vegetable, your fiber, your protein. Got your little bit of omega-3 there from the virgin olive oil. It looks decadent, but it's pretty healthy, to be honest with you. And then the last bite, it's a nice big piece of broccoli in it. Look at that. Oh, I'm going to scarf that down in one big mouthful. Super good, guys. Well, I got more stuff going on in the oven. Day of cooking for me, buddy. I love it. Enjoy. Make yourself a manly quiche. Get on it.